if Count Dooku killed Anakin Skywalker in Revenge of the Sith, then Darth Sidious would be disappointed that Anakin is dead, but Sidious's plans would not change at all. So, let's say Dooku gets really lucky and he manages to stab Anakin in the chest and kill him. Then Dooku would go over to the unconscious Obi-Wan Kenobi and chop off his head and kill him. And Darth Sidious would keep Darth Tyrannus, Count Dooku, as his apprentice for now, because Sidious Palpatine would want an apprentice for convenience purposes. And so Palpatine, Dooku, Sidious, Tyrannus would return to Coruscant, while General Grievous would be sent to Utapau. And Palpatine would show up to the Jedi, and Palpatine would pretend that he escaped from Grievous' ship, and the Jedi would be a little suspicious about that. But the Jedi would also be very troubled that Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi are both dead. And the moment that Padme Amidala hears that Anakin Skywalker is actually dead, she collapses, and she loses the will to live, and she dies. So Padme dies, and Luke and Leia are never born, so Luke and Leia are also dead, and Padme is dead too. Now, the Jedi would be doing their best to find Count Dooku and General Grievous. Meanwhile, the tensions between the Jedi and Palpatine would be rising, and Palpatine would be doing a lot of very shady and fishy things, and the Jedi would be trying to investigate him and trying to spy on him, but nothing would work. Now, eventually, Yoda would go to Kashyyyk, and Palpatine would tell the Jedi Council that General Grievous is on Utapau. And so the Jedi would decide to send Mace Windu to Utapau, because without Obi-Wan Kenobi around, they do need someone very powerful to destroy General Grievous, so Mace Windu would be the logical choice. And so Yoda would be on Kashyyyk, and Mace Windu would be on Utapau. And eventually, Mace Windu would kill General Grievous. Now, Coleman Kaj, Agent Kolar, Kit Fisto, and Saesee Tiin would go to Chancellor Palpatine and ask him to return his emergency powers. But Palpatine would refuse, and that's where Palpatine revealed that he's actually Darth Sidious, and Darth Sidious would kill Coleman Kaj, Saesee Tiin, Agent Kolar, Kit Fisto. And Count Dooku, Darth Tyrannus, would march on the Jedi Temple with the clone armies, and they would kill all the Jedi. And then Count Dooku, Darth Tyrannus would kill the Separatist Council, and Count Dooku, Darth Tyrannus would focus on integrating the Separatist systems into the Galactic Empire, because, of course, Dooku being the leader of the Separatists, he would have a lot of credibility, and he would get everyone to join the Empire. So that would be very easy and convenient. Meanwhile, Yoda and Mace Windu would have survived Order 66, and Yoda and Mace Windu would decide that they would go up against Darth Sidious together, because obviously they can deal with Count Dooku later, because Count Dooku is much weaker. And so Yoda and Mace Windu would go and fight Darth Sidious, and it would be a very tough fight. It is possible that Yoda and Mace Windu managed to defeat Darth Sidious, and so after Yoda and Mace Windu destroyed Darth Sidious, they would go on and destroy Count Dooku, and they would restore the galaxy. But it is also possible that Darth Sidious proves to be much stronger than Yoda and Mace Windu, and maybe Darth Sidious destroys both Yoda and Mace Windu, in which case the Jedi will be completely extinct and out of hope. So let's pretend that Darth Sidious kills both Yoda and Mace Windu, because Yoda and Mace Windu end up being no match for Darth Sidious. Well, then Darth Sidious and Darth Tyrannus would rule the galaxy together, and Darth Tyrannus, Count Dooku, would be going around killing any surviving Jedi. And Darth Tyrannus, Count Dooku, would of course try to capture Jocasta Nu as well. And whether Jocasta Nu would be captured by Dooku and brought to Sidious, or whether Jocasta Nu would escape or just decide to go the easy way out, that remains to be seen. But I think Count Dooku would be very effective in trying to capture Jocasta Nu, and Count Dooku would also train the Grand Inquisitor as well as the other Inquisitors. And that's what would happen. Now, meanwhile, Darth Maul would have escaped, and he would be leading Crimson Dawn and his criminal empire. Ahsoka Tano would still be at large. And it's possible that Count Dooku would find Ahsoka Tano and maybe kill her too, maybe and Count Dooku. And of course, let's say that after the Grand Inquisitor is killed by Kanan Jarrus, Count Dooku, Darth Tyrannus shows up, and Darth Tyrannus kills Kanan Jarrus, Ezra Bridger, and Ahsoka Tano. Or maybe there's a confrontation where everyone is on Malachor, and Darth Maul shows up and kills all the Inquisitors, and Darth Maul, Ahsoka Tano, Kanan Jarrus, Ezra Bridger all face off against Count Dooku together, and maybe they managed to kill Count Dooku because Count Dooku would be so old at that point, and Count Dooku would be like 97 years old at that point. So yeah, maybe, who knows what happens there, but or maybe things go on. But let's say Count Dooku lives until the time of A New Hope, then Count Dooku would be 102 years old, and Darth Sidious might just be getting ready for a new apprentice at that point anyway. So maybe Darth Sidious would get rid of Count Dooku there, or who knows what happens. But basically, if Count Dooku killed Anakin Skywalker in Revenge of the Sith, then nothing would have changed. Darth Sidious would have still formed the Empire and exterminated the Jedi, and the only difference is that Count Dooku would have been the tool that Darth Sidious used to do everything, rather than Anakin. But really, Count Dooku was just a tool and a proton torpedo that Darth Sidious used, and when he was done with it, he threw it away. So if Count Dooku did manage to kill Anakin, then I think Darth Sidious would just use Dooku a little longer and then toss him aside at some point. So yes, that's what would happen.